There we go. Sorry. Pardon me, folks. I was just waking up. So, good morning, everyone, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to my kitchen and today's delicious Periscope. So, I nearly chickened out of doing one today, but here I am. And the reason I just dived on here, even though I had no intention of doing this morning, was because I needed to keep a promise to myself. And even though I cleverly didn't tell anyone I was going to do this, I am doing it. So I haven't really thought about what to say because the act of getting out and posting something is more important than what I'm going to say. But the thing that was at the top of my mind, and it's been at the top of my mind all weekend, is a movie I watched that was introduced to me by a friend called Steve Trister called Earthlings, which I've watched about half of it so far. If anyone's seen Earthlings, just say hello. And it's about it's an insight into the meat industry and how humans treat animals and how we all treat each other on the world. And there's some pretty, not even pretty horrific, there's like really fucking horrific things in it, like animals getting skinned alive to make coats, and then they're put back in their cages to grow their fur again and then go through that. And it's at no point did I think that was kind of okay, but in my whole life, but just over the last year, things like that really started to twist the knife in me. And then it was, I've been playing around with my diet a lot in the last couple of years. We've always eaten good food, but I've paid loads of attention to where stuff comes from, and that's not always easy because if you go to a trendy health food shop, where it is apparently more expensive, and quite often it is more expensive, but then you have to work. It is harder work eating better because you have to seek out good food and probably read more. Whereas if you, in my humble opinion, and I'm sure lots of people will disagree, if you just wander into a shop and could buy everything, like when I go into a supermarket nowadays, there's significantly less choice, and in my positive way of thinking, it's easier for me to get around the supermarket because only 10% of it is relevant to me. At the beginning of this year, I stopped drinking caffeine, drinking sugar, or not that I ever drank sugar, but using sugar. And there's something, one other big dairy and bread. I cut those two things out, and I just feel much better. And now if I eat some bread with jam on, quite often I enjoy it, but I just feel a bit shit afterwards. And being vegan has occurred to me a lot, and I'm not about to go vegan because there's some things I'm not ready to give up, or don't know how to give up, or lots of little reasons. But for instance, this year we've hardly eaten any chicken because one of the two things, there's like nutritional value in chicken after it's been pumped full of chemicals and kept in a barn is zero, and I don't want to eat food that's treated in such a cruel way. There's a movie on Netflix called Food Inc., which described a lot of this in more detail, and how food is processed, and the part companies like Monsanto play in this. And it's just, that isn't a delay in the screen, it's just my head. It's just horrific how we think it's okay, or we just accept or turn a blind eye to how people make money and how other people and other animals and our planet is treated in the process of that making money. So I'm hesitating a bit because it'd be very easy to complain about lots of things, and I haven't spent a long time researching this, but I've read enough things and couldn't stand up in the House of Commons and really argue the case yet. But at a base level, it in my heart and in my head, it just feels really wrong. So two examples in the UK earlier this year. A lady jumped on stage at a a dinner for the people in the arms industry, and there's something like 500 people at dinner in this arms industry, and about 200 of the people there were politicians, and of those politicians, I can't remember the exact percentage, but a big percentage of those people were Conservative politicians. It would be unfair to say that it was only Conservative politicians. That's not accurate at all. But there are lots of people having dinner in London. Many of those people in charge of big companies or running a business, and another, well, running the country is the most elected politicians, or hoping to be elected politicians, and they thought it was okay. I don't know, maybe they do think it's okay. Maybe they believe in, I'm sure they believe in what they do, and that bit's okay. But it's the fact that we, as a society, think it's okay to, spend probably like £1,000 a head or a table or something, and just pretend it's all right, while the result of those people's actions is what we're seeing in Calais at the moment, here in Europe, and political instability all around the world, and economical stability all around the world. But it's the people that pay the price, not politicians and not corporate leaders. And then this comes back to, I just picked up on Bernie Sanders, who's running for president in the US at the moment. And at first I thought, oh, this is quite funny. It's called Bernie. I can play on the vote for Bernie thing. And fuck me, I'm going to really play on the vote for Bernie thing, because there's a lot of things he's doing that I really, really agree in. Things like his stance on education, and where he says, if you work 40 hours, one of his slogans is, if you work 40 hours a week, is it fair that you should be in poverty? And how his campaign's funded, a bit like Barack Obama, a lot of money came from a lot of people rather than big donations. And there was a graph, and this is where I'd like to be more prepared. There was a graph on, I think I saw it on Instagram, and it said his net worth is sort of like 5 million, which is still really respectable, and Hillary Clinton's net worth is 18 million. He's taken, I'm reluctant to quote the figures, but it's for instance, say he's taken £5 in donations from corporations, and Hillary Clinton's taken £16 in corporations. The difference is huge, and I understand that, because she was first lady and she's been in the game a long time, and she's very attractive to a corporation. But where her money comes from is very different to where his money comes from, and his personal donations from like individual donations is huge. And then if you go to the Republican side, a lot of corporations are sponsoring the Republican side, and then on the amount of money spent by lobbyists, this is where the connection is, stay with me, lobbyists in the food industry, people lobbying Congress and the European Parliament, food companies, is huge. So just to finish up with is, there's just no argument about it, is that a lot of the food that comes onto our supermarket shelves is just, refined, chemicals, manipulated, and a lot of those, there's very little nutritional food. And that's something I really, really picked up off reading the Bulletproof Diet book, and that's why I'm so enthusiastic about it, because my diet choices are massively lower, but I feel much better because I'm eating real food, and that's affected my my physical, not so much like I don't look any more beautiful, but it's affected or had a really positive impact on how I feel physically and being tired and alert. I'm just feel better all the time physically, and also mentally, and that's really important too, because I've spent a good 4 or 5 years, probably more than that, suffering from depression, and things are still challenging, but they are massively better, and a lot of that is down to diet. So final word is just go out and look at a film called Earthlings, which is also called Vegan Maker, and thanks to Vegan Maker, or nicknamed Vegan Maker, and thanks to Steve Trister for pointing us in the direction of that a couple of years ago. I've only just plucked up the courage to watch it because I knew it was going to be tough. And look up on Netflix a movie called Food Inc., which is about the food industry and organic farming. And also, if you're in the London area, look up a thing called Dinner Exchange, because what Dinner Exchange, Brigitte and her crew do is go and find food that's recycled, because we actually throw out nearly as much food as we waste nearly as much food in the UK as we do eat it, or something like that. I'll find more statistics for a blog post on this. So Brigitte and Dinner Exchange go around and get food from markets and supermarkets, and then make so basically they recycle food, and then they make the most bloody fucking amazing vegan food. And a couple of years ago they came to 90 Maynard and made a breakfast for us, and this is when I started to really change how I ate, and what I left me speechless like that was I had a huge breakfast, but I was energised after it because it was free from gluten, dairy, sugar, chemicals, and all the other shit that goes in there. So I promised to prepare for this a little bit better. That was just completely off the head, and I keep on looking down to keep time. So have a great day and take care of yourselves. Lots of love. Bye.